exactly that you don't like about a certain thing and try to eliminate that from your communication. And when somebody, if there is somebody you like, try to inculcate the exactly the points or the good things, good qualities in them that you feel are influential. If there's a leader that you follow, try to look up their YouTube videos on how they exactly influence crowd. Try to inculcate those little qualities. These are very easy and effective methods of trying to observe and inculcate. So this is called observational communication. This is when you are the talker, but what do you do when you are the receiver? So when you are a receiver, we generally lose interest when uh, we feel that, oh, मुझे तो ये पता है, इसमें I don't have anything new to learn. Like this is not something that is very additional information for me. However, when you walk into a conversation with an open mind or an empty mind, you will be more receptive to what the other person is saying. So try to be free of judgments, free of opinions, and free of preconceived notions. Try to walk into a conversation with an absolutely clear head. And this might be possible when you are probably talking to somebody new, not exactly when you've already spoken to somebody. It is natural to have biases when you've already spoken to somebody, which is fair. But try, even in that case, try to have an open mind. Give them 2 minutes of your time and then decide whether this is worth your time or not. Now, this is a very good way of communicating effectively and trying to save our interpersonal relationships from going down. Ask, do not assume. This is some, even the best communicators or even the nicest communicators end up assuming stuff. Now, for example, uh, you are in an office space and your friend brought some samosas for you, samosas for everybody, but they did not offer it to you. Or say, for example, your friend is throwing a party, but they did not invite you. Or you're basically in your home atmosphere, your mother just put your shirt away. In all these things, you would assume, in the first case, you would assume, like if you look at the PPT, in the first case, you would assume your friend basically hates you or dislikes you, and which is why she did not offer samosas to you. If they did not invite you to a party, you would think, um, again, probably they have a certain bias against you, which is why, or they don't want your presence in the party. Or your mother put your shirt away. You would think, why did she not ask me, or why did she touch my shirt without asking for my permission? But in all these cases, if you just make one simple effort, जाके पूछना, that's it. Your friend would probably have not asked you because she would have brought some non-Jain food wherein she later realized that you were Jain. That is why she would have missed out on asking you or missed out on the fact that you were Jain while making the food. Your friend wouldn't have invited you to a party probably because they are going to throw you a separate party and they did not want to spend time with you in a probably a crowd atmosphere. And your mother probably put your shirt away because they wanted to save your time and effort, because that is exactly where they would find you would find it. So a simple trick or a simple method of asking without assuming will save you a lot of trouble. This works across spaces, whether you are at home, whether you are amongst family members, whether you are at office, whether you are with your colleagues, with your boss. Just basically try and ask, what could have gone wrong? Is there something that I did wrong due to which I was not offered samosas, or due to which I was not invited to the party? And this will save a lot of your overthinking. Now, little changes in day-to-day communication can make you more likable. Now let's look at how can you be more likable with only changing a little part of your communication when we talk on a daily basis. Practice you communication. Now what is you communication? Suppose you find a friend's suit very appealing to you. Don't just say, oh, your shirt is very, or your suit is very beautiful. Say something like, you look really good in that suit. Or for example, you are in a seminar and somebody asks an interesting question. Try to tell them, this is not Try not to tell them this is a good question. Try to tell them this is a very good question that you asked. So when you shift the focus from yourself to them, or when you put them in the center of the stage, they will naturally find you more likable, and they will feel a lot more warmth towards you. So these are very little psychological ways to make you more likable. And also practice, like we are generally tired of listening thank you in our day-to-day lives. Like so many times we hear thank you and we say thank you. Now here are two scenarios. What would you rather prefer? Like, when somebody says you simply thank you, or when somebody says you thank you for really helping me get through tough times? Obviously the second one, right? So try to give a proper reason for why you're thanking people. So the next time you say thank you, also say the reason for why you're thanking them. This will make a whole world of difference in the way they perceive you, and you will obviously be more likable in these little changes in your communication. Now, avoid calling out bloopers. Bloopers are when, suppose you are sitting in a restaurant and the waiter is bringing you food and he slips and he falls down. Now, the first instinctive reaction that most people might have is that they will laugh. The waiter is already feeling bad about falling, and he is also probably feeling bad about wasting all that food. So he doesn't need more of embarrassment or insults. So by laughing, you are adding to his tyranny or adding to his distress. However, a good expert communicator in this case would pretend like that nothing has happened. They would go on normally with their life. In the same way, probably the next time you meet somebody and you see a pimple on their face, try to not call it out. Like, oh, ये तेरा pimple बहुत prominently दिख रहा है, or try not to say these things, because they already know they have a pimple on their face and they're already feeling bad about it. So try to, this is basically being a good human being and trying not to laugh on other people's tyrannies or the bad things that are probably happening with them. So avoid calling out. These are the bloopers, and you should not call them out as far as possible. Now, what are cold read statements? Try to not ask questions like, hey, what's up? Or what would you rather prefer if you are are on the receiving end of the communication? If somebody asks you, um, isn't the weather cloudy today? You would only have two options, yes or no. However, if they ask you something like, how do you feel about the weather today? Would that not make you think on how's the weather, or what would you say next? So when you are meeting somebody for the first time, or probably trying to make a conversation with somebody, try not to ask close-ended questions. Try to ask more open-ended questions. So next time, probably this will be a lot more helpful to the ones who are already on dating apps and trying to, make the first lines. So instead of saying what's up, which is like very cliche, say something like, you look like an interesting person. You might have a lot of interesting hobbies. So this could go a lot of in this could go in a lot of branches, wherein they might either tell you, um, no, I'm not an interesting person, and they will want to explain you why they're not an interesting person. Or if they are interesting, they will start telling you about their hobbies. So you are asking them open-ended questions, which will obviously encourage them to speak more. This way, you will enhance a good communication, and you will not have to think of abhi aage kya bolu. So this is what psychics practice too. Psychics are more like the ones who probably read your hands and stuff like that. So they will look at your face and they will try to gauge your reaction, and they will try to understand how exactly are you feeling, and they will take it forward from there. So we are no psychics, obviously, but these are very little changes in our day-to-day communication that we can practice. Now, confidence. Uh, Generally, no matter how good we are at a certain topic, we generally most people feel lack of confidence while communicating, especially when we are in public spaces. Even not just public spaces, Uh, we also sometimes falter on confidence when we think that somebody might be more expert or might be more informed on a certain topic that we might be talking about. So the only way to improve your confidence is to pretend that you're confident until you actually are confident, obviously. This is the best way to actually feel confident after a certain point. So fake it till you make it. This is the only way to go about improving your confidence. Now there is a something called as imposter syndrome, wherein yeah, I'm so sorry. Uh, so imposter syndrome is when probably let's look at the example of Borivali Youth Forum. uh, we were trying to choose the next leader for Borivali Youth Forum. And this XYZ person, even though he's been a part of Borivali Youth Forum for the last 3 years since its inception, they were and even though they knew everything about Borivali Youth Forum and they knew exactly how to take things about it, they were doubtful about themselves and they thought probably in the presence of everybody else, I might be faltering somewhere and I might not be exactly fit for this position. This is called the imposter syndrome. In this case, what you can do is pretend that you're confident, uh, try to evolve yourself out of that situation. And this is normal. Like everybody feels that they are not fit to be a part of a certain uh, title or a part of, or basically fit into a certain job given to them, but that is very normal. So it's not something that is exclusive to you. So try to pretend that you're confident, try to act like you're confident, and eventually you will slide into that role very seamlessly and effectively. So this is a very good example for fake it till you make it. Now, coming to our very wanted and like the problem that we generally share on a day-to-day basis, how to handle awkward, unwanted questions, and sometimes even embarrassing questions. Now, say for example, you're walking on a street and you see somebody that you dislike walking by you, approaching towards you, and you most likely expect an unwanted question. What is the first thing that you would want to do? Obviously, turn your way, right? Or you would want to go away, or you would want to pretend that you've not seen them. Well, here's the good news, you don't have to do that. Just by learning little effective ways to deal with those unwanted questions, we can, the next time we see them, we will not want to escape that situation. Now, most times when we are thrown with unwanted or embarrassing or awkward questions, the first instinct that we want to, the first answer that we want to give them is, this is none of your business. That is obviously something that you would not want to say, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to save your relationships and you don't want the other people to feel that you are rude. And at the end of the day, you want to maintain amiable relationships with everybody. So let's look at how to tactfully and without sabotaging your relationships go about handling these situations. Now, if you think that you can make good humor, or if you think that this is a situation which is not very serious, probably diffuse the situation with humor. So, for example, if somebody says, if you're, suppose in a day to day situation, if your mom says, बेटा હવે લગનનું ક્યારે વિચારે છે और अब शादी का कब सोच रहे हो. You can say some, this is a very basic example, but you can say something like હું લગન કરી લઈશ પછી તમારી સાથે કોણ રહેશે और शादी कर लूंगा तो फिर तुम आपके साथ कौन रहेगा. So this way you diffuse the situation with humor, and probably for the time being you've press paused on that conversation, and the next time probably you want to have this conversation you might be more prepared. Now take a bird's eye view of the situation. This is another way of dealing with unwanted questions. Taking a bird's eye view is what exactly? So probably say something like, people like me or people at the threshold of their probably careers or marriages or will be encountered with questions like, when are you trying to get married? Once you're married, you might be asked questions like, when are you trying to have kids? These are endless questions and you don't really want to answer them. So the one good way of dealing with these questions is try to understand the intention or the rationale behind why they are asking you this question. So suppose the next time somebody asks you, when are you getting married? Say something like, are you concerned that I might be lonely? Or ask them, if you don't want to ask them a close-ended question, you can ask them a more open-ended question saying, are you concerned about something? And whatever they respond will help you understand whether they are asking you out of legitimacy, they are asking you out of concern, or are they just being nosy. From there you can decide what exactly you want to respond to them. In a similar manner, if say somebody trying to like ask you, are you trying to have kids? You can answer them with something like, no, but do you have any advice for me? So this is another way of dealing with the situation. Ask for advice. So when you ask for advice, you again shift the focus from you to them. So when you shift the focus, they will like to talk about what they know. This way, they will give you a more insight into what they did, and this will naturally make you not having to answer this question. And this is a good way of very easily and seamlessly escaping the conversation and shifting the focus from you to them. So now when you ask for advice, obviously free advice everybody likes giving. So they might go on and on about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And there are again ways to escape these sort of conversations also. And that's a whole topic in itself of how to escape, how to literally escape a conversation, which we might probably cover in the next session. But this is a basic, a wholesome way of, in the moment trying to avoid the question. So you can basically ask them for an advice. Also, you can change the subject. So changing the subject doesn't mean say somebody asks you, when are you getting married? So in such a situation, you cannot be giving an answer like, I am not trying to get married soon, let's have pizza. So that will be a very bad transition, and you will let the other person know that you are obviously trying to change the subject. However, say you get asked, are you trying to have kids yet? You can say something like, no, we are not trying to have kids yet, but we are trying to go to Niagara Falls though. You had been there to the Niagara Falls last year, right? How is it like? So this is a smooth, easygoing transition, and this will obviously diffuse the question, and they might not remember why they even asked you, what they even asked you. Now, just because somebody is asking you a question doesn't mean you have to answer right then and there. You read the room, or you try to understand why or when they are asking you this question. So for example, if somebody asks you questions like, how's business, how's marriage, what are your future plans, and if you find these questions unwanted, these are only situations when you find the question unwanted. Obviously, if you're talking to somebody you really like, or you like having these conversations with, you try to go about the normal track of communication. But when somebody unwanted, or when you think that they're trying to demean you or trying to embarrass you in a public space, these are the things that you resort to. So reading the room means you try to understand, you first try to understand why they're asking you, and then suppose they're asking you how's business, you uh, do not have to give an elaborate answer. You can provide a sufficient answer. You don't have to say, oh, my business made a lot of losses last year, I lost a lot of clients, or vis-a-vis, I made really good profits this year, I paid huge taxes this year. You can give a basic, short, crisp answer like, my business is going well, how about you? Or how's marriage, future plans? The same follows suit. You can give crisp and good answers. You don't have to necessarily go into the elaborate or accuracy of the answer. So focus on the sufficiency of the answer, not the elaborateness or the extensiveness of the answer. So just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean that you owe them a detailed answer right then. You can probably take 5 seconds to think exactly why they're asking you. And most times in public spaces, when people ask you questions, they're only trying to make a conversation with you. They're not actually trying to ask you that exact same question. So you can try to understand why they're asking you, whether they're only trying to make a conversation or hit up a conversation, or they're actually trying to understand how your business really is, in which case you can then decide what exactly what you want to answer. And most importantly, nobody will ever tell you this in communication lessons, but this is the most important thing to do whenever you are stuck up in a certain situation. Say for example, you are in an office space, or you are in you got into a bickering with probably your girlfriend or boyfriend, and you don't know what to do, or probably with your parents or your kids, you don't know what to do or how to go about things, or what exactly to say to them in order to convince them, or in order to just uh, like diffuse the argument. What you do is Google. You Google, what can I say in this particular situation? Google, what should I say when I had an argument with my girlfriend or my boyfriend? Google has all the answers. So nobody, none of the books will ever tell you this, none of the communication lessons are going to tell you this, but this has been very helpful to me, and I'm hoping this will be helpful to you too. In conclusion, now let's quickly summarize whatever we spoke about. Communication, is it same as the English or a language? No. Communication, English एक भाषा है, language एक भाषा है, communication एक कला है. And the more we try to expertise our communication, the more we'll get better at it. So there is this saying by an author, communication works for those who work at it. And I cannot stress the importance of trying to work at communication. What are the good ways of effective communicating effectively? As the speaker, you have to observe, try to observe good behavior and bad behavior. Say for example, if I am at home, and or if I'm at office and somebody says, um, hey, can you please do this work, I'm really bored. You don't like that behavior. They are asking you to do their work because they are bored. Try to not say stuff like that the next time you communicate with somebody, because that is obviously something that will put you off, and put the others off too when you say something like that to somebody. And in the same way, say some say if I go to my house and I probably messed up big time at work, or I say stuff like, oh, I wish I would have done better, uh, and probably my mom was there to support me, and she said, it's okay beta, the next time you do this, try to be more careful. Instead of telling me, how could you have done this, why did you even do this, you should have been prepared in advance. What is the uh, which is the situation that you would rather prefer, when somebody tells you what you could have done, or when somebody tells you that they understand that it's okay to make mistakes and to learn from your mistakes and probably do better the next time? obviously the second situation, right? So try to not call out or try to not say things like, oh, you could have done like, or you should have learned, or you should have prepared in advance and stuff like that. Try to inculcate the good things when you like those good things. So try to observe people around you and then inculcate those things in your communication. Give them spotlight. Little changes in day-to-day communication can help you be more likable. So we saw examples like you communication, wherein you put them or the other person in the center stage, or you give them the spotlight. So we saw the example of suit in there, wherein you say, you don't say stuff like, I like your suit. So you're talking about yourself, but you say, your suit is really good, or you look really good in that suit. So you are giving them the spotlight, and that will instantaneously make you feel more likable. Also, when you thank people, which you might be doing like probably 3 times a day or even more, also state the reason why you are thanking them. If you got off the rickshaw, probably tell them, thank you, Bhaiya, for reaching me from place A to B in a short span of time. Probably, uh, like stuff like this, like basic stuff like this, you can also give them the reason for why you're thanking them, and that will also instantaneously make them more warm towards you, and you will be more likable in these. Uh, and obviously, when we are trying to improve our communication, this is also what we are trying to do, right? We're trying to improve our communication, we are trying to improve our interpersonal relationships, and we are trying to have as less arguments or bickerings in our day-to-day lives as possible. So these are very basic day-to-day examples of how you can improve communication. Avoid calling out bloopers. Basically, try to be a good human being. So when somebody is falling, don't laugh, or try to help them get up. Or when somebody has a pimple, don't call out that they have a pimple. They will probably notice that you didn't say that they had a pimple, because most other people they met that day had been calling out, oh, look at that ugly pimple, look at that ugly pimple. They will obviously think that you are a more likable and a more amiable person. Read the room. Try to practice more open-ended questions. Don't ask questions like, hey, what's up, which is obviously very cliche. Try to ask more questions like, how do you feel about this movie, or how do you feel about uh, the current affair that might be in talks at that point of time, which will obviously encourage more deeper discussion. And mm, talking about confidence, you fake it till you make it. We also spoke about the imposter syndrome, wherein which is very common to be thinking that you are not fit for a certain job, but it is normal, it is not exclusive to you. So you try to come out of it, you try to pretend, or you try to act like you are confident till you are actually confident. So you fake it till you make it, and this is the only way to be confident. Now, ask, never assume. This is my personal favorite. Like we, most of us try to assume, okay, this person did not pick up my phone when I actually needed them, but they might be actually in a very bad space at that point of time. They might have probably lost a loved one that you don't know of. Try to not assume stuff, and instead of assuming, try to go forward and ask what is exactly that made them not do what you were expecting them to do. You can probably even go up to them and tell them, I was really expecting you would pick up my call in time. You will be surprised at what they answer you, and you will be surprised that they might be actually looking out for you wherein you thought they were hating you. So ask, ask, ask. Do not assume. And the other part that we also discussed was how to handle unwanted questions. So one basic, simplistic, easy way of doing it is by diffusing the question with humor. We also can have a bird's eye view, which is basically figuring out the other person's intention. Try to answer accordingly. So when somebody asks you, why are you still single? You can ask questions like, are you worried that I might be lonely? Or a more open-ended question like, what is your exact worry, which will help you exactly understand what their intention is, and you can answer accordingly. You can change the subject with a smooth and an easygoing transmission. transition of the subject. So this is also a temporary way to diffuse the situation. This is not a very long lasting method. However, this is also like a temporary fix, so we can practice that. You can ask for advice. So if the other person has been in that situation, you can obviously ask for their advice, like, yeah, we are trying to have kids, but what would you suggest, what would be a good time, etc., etc. So when you ask advice, you obviously shift focus from yourself to them, and they will start talking, wherein you can then decide whether you want to continue listening to that conversation, or then we also discussed whether we want to move out of that conversation, which is a different topic in itself on how to escape conversations. uh, Take 5 seconds to really decide if you really need to answer right away. You do not have to answer each and every question thrown at you right in that moment. You can take a moment to decide whether this question is really important or not. So, this is very similar to reading the room. And when nothing else works, probably go home and Google what situation you are in. Google mostly will have answers to everything. And language is no bar for Google. You can Google in any language, and Google will try to probably give you accurate answers. Now, there are other, most times when you attend communication lectures, you will be told maintain a smile, uh, maintain eye contact, may, try to have this as your posture. So I'm not sure if you all can see this, but this is something that most people might be telling you. While these are good ways to practice good public speaking or corporate communication, these are not something that really work when you actually want to focus on the content more than your body language. So body language is again one part of communication, but it is not all of communication. So public speaking is again a whole topic in itself, which we might cover in another session probably if you like this session. But and uh, corporate communication also, I'll just brush up on one single thing that we always face, the problem that we always face in communicate corporate cultures. We do not know how to say no, or for that matter, when we are asked a question, we uh, always feel like we should have an answer to that, or we should know what our boss or what our seniors are asking us. No, it is not important for you to know everything that you are being asked. And instead of saying no, I don't know, which shows lack of interest, or which shows lack of being informed, you can instead say, hey, let me check, I'll get back. So when you say I'll check and I'll get back, it makes you look more interested. It makes you look more enthusiastic, and it will make you a more pleasant employee. So instead of saying no, I don't know, never use I don't know. Always say I will check and I'll get back. So that is a very simple and a very common problem that we all face in our workspaces. There are other ways of corporate communication too, but which is also a whole topic in itself, and it can't be covered as a part of this topic. So for now, we will sign off. If you have any questions, you can obviously ask me on private chats, I mean on the Zoom chats, as well as you can contact me on this number. You may note this number down. I will try to answer as many questions as possible right now in the next 10 minutes. But you may note this down. And Borivali Youth Forum is conducting a series of webinars. So this was the 4th webinar, communication skills. The next webinar that is coming up is investment and investment, ways of investment by Hate Savla. So you can also stay tuned with this Instagram page and even contact either of the Borivali Youth Forum members for more updates.
Yeah. Okay, Heer. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we'll quickly thank the dignitaries that are present today. आज हमारे साथ हमारे बोरीवली महाजन के प्रेसिडेंट तरुण मोता सर है, फिर हमारे कन्वीनर और मैनेजिंग ट्रस्टी परेश शाह यहाँ पे. Also we also have CA CVO के president Mr. Sanjay Cheda also is there. So thank you so much sir for being there. I would like Paresh uncle if you would just say a few words. I'm just unmuting you. you would like to speak a few words about it. Paresh uncle? Yeah.
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 Okay. Here, I mean, it was a wonderful session. What I would like to say about the communication skills is, to the audience also, as well as the youth forum. See, first of all, you have to be, a very nice person to be like. So if you are clever enough, then communication skills, what you might develop or you might possess, cannot work for a longer time. It cannot give you that success. So for me, the most important factor in communication skills is the nicety, what you possess. The virtue of good life and, the good values, what you possess can make you a good communicator. So I think we all have to understand, we must have that, goodness, in our own self. And then only the communication skills would work in a better way. The another aspect, what I always believe, the most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said, and most of the time we miss that. And after hearing the Heer's conversation on communication skill, it was as stimulating as the having black coffee. You can't be sleeping after this webinar. So it was so stimulating, so engrossing. And sometimes I always say you should speak less and you should speak more meaningful, because it says the wise men speak because they have something to say, but the fools because they have to say something. So if we can understand all these differences, whatever you say has to be crisp and to the point and to the meaningful. On the humor side, most of the examples what he gave was more of a youth centric. She spoke about the being single, or she spoke about asking the parents about the marriages. She spoke about having the children. She spoke about if you are using the dating app, so what is to be done like. So those do's and do nots definitely work for the the youth forum. But people like us, perhaps you need to think again, what is to be done. But anyway, it was absolutely brilliant session. And I'm really amazed, with the series of webinar. This, of course, was the fourth one. And the kind of the various topic. And, I can relate because I know everyone, at heart, ke bhai kaun kya hai karke. So I can relate the topic, what has been given to, every individual. Simply fantastic job. Thank you so much, Youth Forum. Thank you, for coming out such a wonderful topic. And looking for the hate session again, as an investment choices. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hardik. Thank you so much, Heer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, uncle.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so just summarizing the things, actually मेरे mom भी मेरे साथ बैठकर ये session देख रहे थे, and जैसे when you started talking about open-ended question, she actually closed the conversation by asking me an open-ended question, सांझे जम्मा मा शू बनाऊं. So yeah, many of you might be answering that, and using Heer का एक technique, Heer ने एक चीज, एक बहुत अच्छी चीज बोली थी, that you should always use you communication rather than I communication. So yes, I'll just say that Heer, you did a good job rather than okay, I was a good host. Yeah, you did a good job. Heer, Tarun uncle is also there. Tarun uncle, would you just enlighten with a few words, please? Yeah, just I'll unmute you. Yeah. Yes, Tarun uncle.
Yeah. Very good and fantastic sessions. I think you boys are doing very good, and this will be useful to all the youth, our professionals and youth people both. Fantastic, good. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for it.
So with this, thank you so much, Heer, for giving this session, and it was wonderful. And एक record भी actually हमारे साथ हुआ है यहाँ पे. This was the 4th webinar, and today we were full. We were full with the 100 का capacity, and we were getting calls that हम enter नहीं कर पा रहे. So to those who were not present, we have recorded this webinar and we'll be sharing up the link by tonight. So with that, we conclude, and just before we end, we are meeting again for the next webinar, which will be on investments. We will be talking about basic investments, and that again would be taken up by one of our youth forum member, which we are very proud of. This entire web series, जितने भी सारे भी हम लोग webinars conduct कर रहे हैं, ये सारे के सारे हमारे youth forum के ही members कर रहे हैं. They might not be professionals, but they are very good and they have a very good command over the topics they are speaking about. So yes, looking forward that with this number we meet again for the next webinar. The details would be forwarded to you very shortly. So with this, we sign off. Bye bye. Enjoy your tea. Enjoy your day. Please stay home. Please stay safe. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Hardik. Thank you so much, Paresh uncle.